Today we're going to visit one of my favorite places in all the world. It's over north of Kanab, Utah, on Highway 89. You can actually see the windows as you drive by on the north side of the road, and it's right past the junction on the way up to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. The parking lot's actually right where the turn is to go up to Best Friends. I've known about these caves my entire life, and I've visited hundreds and hundreds of times, but I've never photographed them. And so today I'm taking this opportunity to take you on a journey, a very beautiful journey with me to Sand Caves in Utah. This next poem that I am going to record for you is one that is probably most people that hear this poem, they say, this is a classic, this is the best one that you've done, Marv. And that's why I'm doing this poem early on. I know I've mentioned before a couple times about September 21st at the time of the equinox in 2020, which 2020 means perfect vision, by the way, and 2020 at this time is when we all began to see clearly. All of us are going to wake up, and the thing that happens with the waking up and the change that's happening in this world is that we are finding ourselves, finding our greater light, and everybody who actually finds themselves, they actually discover how great of a being they are, and they begin to see their God's figure or their goddess figure. The name of this poem is I Am the Light. As I sit in repose at the close of the day, love comes to me in love's own special way. I feel a sweet peace and a deep gratitude for the beauty I see and the things I have viewed. I shout from the treetops, my time is now mine. I now can find time for meditation divine. With my guides by my side, I'm looking within, with no thought of past sorrow, nor darkness, or sin. I'm sending out love to all that I see, and far beyond that, past the birds in the tree. This love I send out to all of man's nations, and I'm sending it out to all God's creations. Love reaches all things, no one left behind. It covers the universe, this love in my mind. I cast a large net with the power to hold. It is made of fine silk, of the purest of gold. The weave is so fine, not an atom falls through. Not a particle is left as it gathers up you. As I soak in your beauty, your goodness and right, the gold of the net turns to the purest of light. This love becomes light I am spreading around, and this light radiates from the sky and the ground. As I look at myself with no thought of tomorrow, I forget all my past with its sadness and sorrow, and then I feel love and light return back to me, and it is then and only then that I begin to see God in me and thee. On September 21st of 2020, when I knew that it was coming. I had known for 4 or 5 days before that the equinox was going to be a great change in our lives, and I literally all day long I could watch. I saw across the sky, and whether that was with my real eyes or whether it was with my third eye, I don't have any idea, but I could literally see what looked to me like going from the west to the east across the sky all day long. Was like butterflies fluttering across the sky, and the colors were in the colors like the brightness of a rainbow, and every color in the in the rainbow, except they were all pastel colors. And in the afternoon, I actually laid on my lawn, had been watching this in awe all day long, and I laid on my lawn underneath the elm tree. And if anybody knows an elm tree, they have thousands of leaves. They're very, very thick foliage. And I was laying there under the elm tree, and I'm looking up at the sky, watching the sky, and all of a sudden, all the leaves took on this same exact vibrant, shining. So the leaves were just fluttering, and they had these colors. Every leaf had its own color, but every leaf would change. It was changing kind of in like a pulsing motion in these bright, the same hue, I think, as a rainbow. They were bright, they were shiny, but they were all in pastel colors. So when I found out who I was and what my mission in life here, I found out that I had come to this earth to help bring light to everybody around me. What happened, and I believe that our planet here on Earth was born, and it had each of the planets were put here in the solar system to kind of be the guardian for the Earth. And it, for the last, I don't know how many thousands of years, but the Earth has been controlled by the planet Saturn, and there has been servitude, sin, and slavery throughout the history of the world. If you look at the world, the history of mankind on the earth, there has been slavery, and we very much are servants or slaves to the system right now. We all have to pay in order to be, it seems like, in order to be part of the earth. And now that equinox has happened, what happened is there was actually a transformation, and the earth began to be guarded over or controlled by the planet Mercury. And Mercury means love, mercy, gratitude, and abundance. And I think that given 10, 20 years from now, and it may take a little more time than that, but you're not even going to recognize this world, because there are thousands and thousands of people that are awakening to who they are. And getting your vision just simply means that you're going to find out who you are. You're going to wake up to who you are and start living on a higher plane of gratitude and love and joy. And you'll find people attracted to you that you didn't even know. They'll just come clear out of the blue, but you're attracting them as you raise your frequency. Everything on the earth, everything in the whole universe is frequency, including us. And as you raise your frequency, you will attract wealth, you will attract abundance, you will attract joy, you will attract people around you that are the same wavelength as you are. And that's what's been happening to me. I mean, for the last 2 years, I've been living in such joy and happiness and peace. Sure, I get triggered sometimes, and I've learned some really, really important things, and I think I want to share with you a couple of the things that I've learned. Number one is, I grew up in a cult, and in that cult, we had this keep sweet no matter what. Well, I think that that's one of the biggest frauds that's been put across the people in the history of this world, because if you always keep sweet and you never have any other feelings, then you're living in a fake world. But the thing I've discovered is when I get triggered, for instance, or if something sad comes into my thought, this is one of the most important things that I've learned in the last 2 years. Own it. Don't blame it on somebody else. Own it. It's inside of you. It's inside of me when those feelings come. And so what I do is I honor them. I receive them. I own them. I claim them. and then I process them and let them go. And if they come back, I do the exact same. And I never have to go and blame my feelings on another human being again in the history of this world. And then another thing that I think that has been one of the most important things I've learned, and this is not my original thought. It's just something that I keep, and I actually call it my poem number 9, even though I did not make it up. And even though it's not a poem, this is something that I want to share with you. As you become more and more enlightened, as you get on a higher vibration, as you draw people to you that are much, much closer, that are of the same wavelength, and find the magic that I have found, absolute magic all day, every day, dreams and visions. I mean, I just can't even start to tell you how many things happen when you start to find yourself. Then I came across this. It's called Wisdom of the Ages, I call it. This one piece of advice will dramatically reduce the conflict in your life. This from Jefferson Fisher, a trial attorney down in Texas who teaches people how to argue and communicate. How often you take things personally is a direct reflection of how much grace you give other people. Maybe I'm the first one to tell you this, but you are the only one that is in complete control of whether you take something personal or not, or if you feel attacked or not, because you can't control the input or what comes to you. You can only control the output of how you respond. So when you choose grace over deciding to take something personally, you start to see that what the person is saying is just a projection of their own insecurities, of their own fears and frustrations. And you get to take a step back and you ask a question like, I hear you, how can I help? And that, my friends, is how you reduce the conflict in your life. So these two items, number one is own your stuff. If it comes to you, own it. Don't blame it on anybody else. Whether it's happiness or whether it's joy, whether it's sadness or whether it's mad, own it. Be grateful, because we all learn from our mistakes. It seems like it's human nature that we have to learn from our own mistakes and not somebody else's. I thank God that I went through the hell that I went through so that I can understand and comprehend the heaven that I live in today. And the second thing is this about you can only control the output. You can't control what comes to you. So don't take it personal. Learn how to just let it go out one ear and out the other. That reminds me of one of the things my dad used to say. He says, Marv, he says, you've got selective memory loss. Then he'd lower his head and smile, and then he'd say, you got it from your mother. All of my poems that I do on here are original, that I made up myself, and I copyright them. No one has my permission to copy them or to use them in any way, digitally or in any form, without my written consent or approval. Thank you.